Welcome to Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, the ultimate resource for business leaders eager to skyrocket your company's growth. I'm your host, Kerry Curran, and this episode is The Power of Synergy, aligning sales and marketing for business growth. Our special guest today is Kim Tran, the Director and Head of Marketing and Business Development at Gimmal. In this episode, we'll discuss the secrets to aligning sales and marketing for exceptional business growth. We'll discuss the importance of change management in transforming marketing approaches and discover how Kim's innovative strategies have revitalized brands and fostered seamless alignment between sales and marketing teams. Whether you're aiming to boost marketing ROI or enhance your interdepartmental collaboration to drive business growth, this episode offers invaluable insights. Let's go. And welcome, Kim. So please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background and experience.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you for having me. So my background, I started off actually just about 10 years ago. I had been what I call a non-traditional marketer. I started off my career thinking I wanted to become a lawyer, started off in media litigation, First Amendment law. And while there, social media was just coming up, Facebook, LinkedIn. I started diving into customer events and then did a full pivot into B2B SaaS just about 10 years ago, working for a PR and marketing automation software company. And since then, I've worked in pretty much every industry you can think of. Internet infrastructure, more recently, ed tech, and some time in financial services and global media as well.
That's great. Well, thank you. We're excited for you to share your expertise today. So I know you've worked with a lot of different marketing brands and teams and verticals. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen for brands when they're in a time of transition or need to update their marketing approach?
Yeah, this is such a great question because I always get it, during interviews or even just, panels and things like that. Marketers, yes, deep industry experience and expertise is very important, but there are very similar challenges across industries. I've been in the B2C space, I've been in the B2B space, tech, non-tech, and the challenges is really first and foremost educating your internal leadership about what marketing is, and also externally building a brand long term, managing brand perception, top funnel, quote unquote fluffy things that don't always have immediate returns, and educating your leadership on that, but also as a marketer keeping up with all these changes, privacy compliance, changing buyer behaviors, B2B space, especially long sales cycles, right? It's not a overnight one click buy like Amazon, but really thinking through psychologically, both from a change management perspective, but also a marketing and sales enablement perspective as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I loved your point of change management in kind of how you work with your leadership to want to kind of pivot, especially if they're in a time of we need something's not working or we need this to work better. So talk a bit more about kind of what your approach to change management and what that's looked like for you.
Yeah, so I can talk about, a past company, but also my current company, two very different spaces. So again, as I mentioned, you can work in various industries and people are dealing with very similar challenges. So when I was in financial services at a top credit card company, we were very well known for our advertising. They were fun, they were cheeky,
Mhm.
And there's something tangible to hold up as a credit card company, right? you you
Mhm.
you can be very tactical about that. But while there, I was actually with a very niche division, the business bank division, and we were
Right.
marketing to a more sophisticated customer, very upmarket. They were concerned about things like succession planning, business planning,
Mhm.
operations for growth and business revenue. And you can't really hold up something visual and say, here's
Mhm.
growth, here's
Right.
your workflow operationally, here is your equity plan. And so
Mhm.
from that perspective, there was a lot of change management and educating our leadership internally to get them on
Mhm.
board, in terms of deploying campaigns from a full funnel perspective. And so
Mhm.
one of the things that we were struggling at the time was that we were going through a digital transformation across the industry, but also at the company itself. And so while legacy wise, we were a credit card company, we had acquired this banking division, and very old school bankers.
Mhm.
They think that
Mhm.
they go out, they can go to an event, you shake hands, you wine and dine, and that's it, right? But
Yeah. Might be
my
a golf course involved. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And my leadership at the time was like, well, how do we measure that? How do we measure the
Yeah.
qualitative relationships?
Mhm.
But the reality is that these longer sales cycles, B2B, it takes time.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's built through relationship, it's built through trust, it's built through customer referrals. And so it took a lot of time building up, getting consensus, and what
Mhm.
I call your internal influencers and your internal amplifiers.
Yeah. Mhm.
Me coming in, I was quote unquote just a brand manager at the time. And so really getting, first of all, my bosses and my own leadership
Mhm.
on board with my own
Mhm.
plans, but also making sure that they were equipped with the right revenue, the right
Yeah.
metrics, the right plans, and more importantly, what I was hoping to achieve and the
Yeah.
outcomes, so that there was
Mhm.
something tangible for folks to measure.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you talked a bit about kind of getting the buy-in from the leadership, and um, you also talked a bit about kind of how you need to restructure and revamp your internal team and resources and partners and vendors. Like, talk a bit about how you kind of make that pivot to kind of drive that change management.
Yeah, I get so passionate about this because so much of marketing is change management. And we
Yeah,
kind of have to wear multiple hats, non marketing hats. And
definitely.
so
Yeah.
the three non-marketing hats that I wear a lot is my engineering hat. Marketing's great, branding, storytelling, all of that. But if it does not scale or you can't operationalize it, you can't measure it. And when you don't
Right.
measure something, you cannot ask for more
Yeah.
budget responsibly, or even,
Yeah.
smartly, right? I know it's not really a word. But the other hats that I wear is also my CEO hat, mini COO hat, and then the mini CFO hat. And figuring out, where are we spending money that is wasteful
Hmm.
that we can
Yeah.
reallocate. Um,
Yeah.
that is the first line of, I want to say, first line of defense. When before you even go forward and ask for money, whether it's 20,000, 200,000, 2 million, it's the
Right.
same concept. You have to be
Hmm.
fiscally responsible and show and build trust, and build that responsibility when you go to your finance team and your COO
Yeah.
team. And so
Hmm.
when I first joined my current company, we are in the B2B SaaS industry at the moment. It was myself, marketing team of one, and a BDR. And at the time, everything seemed to be working at the top funnel. The
Hmm.
metrics, the conversions, there was a lot of engagement. But engagement doesn't always denote intent down funnel, especially once you started to look at the full pipeline. And so that's
Yeah.
another skill that I would encourage all marketers, whether you are just starting out or developing further on in your career, and especially as a marketing leader, you have to put on your
Hmm.
business analyst hat as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's this like red herring fallacy that I kept hearing was, oh, well, we're not closing deals, which means that we need more leads. And, but when you look at the full picture, the issue wasn't that we needed more leads. It was that one, why were the existing leads we had not converting? And then two,
Right,
how
right.
do we get more leads of the right leads that are converting down funnel?
Mm-hmm,
And so all
mm-hmm.
of these things were really important as we transition and rebuild marketing here. And
Yeah.
also from that perspective, that was just a starting point. From there, I
Yeah.
was able to reallocate budget. I was able to reallocate resources. And then last year, added on 2 new headcount to the company, first time roles, including
Mm-hmm.
events,
Yeah.
as well as product
That's
marketing.
great. Mm-hmm. No, it's great. And it's, I love how you talk to the connection between the lead quality and marketing because what we're seeing so often are completely siloed organizations where they're not talking to each other, or I hear a lot from marketers that they're like, we're just the order takers from sales. And to your point, like there's so much alignment. And I think that's why, like when you and I first spoke, I was like, oh, that we have such a similar background, or I guess passion, I should say, for ensuring the integration between sales and marketing. So talk a bit about like your experience and how the, just the role of alignment really does drive to those, to achieving better business results and growth and revenue.
Yeah, I love this because at past companies, I will say that we were very siloed. I've worked
Yeah.
at very large companies, Fortune 500, all the way to
Mm-hmm.
founder owned, founder led, and
Yeah.
it's the same theme, right? Silos, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot keep operating in silos, and especially when their geopolitical, budget, economic climates happening.
Mm-hmm.
And budgets are shrinking. B2B inflation is a thing, right? Like $5,000
Yeah. Yeah.
to sponsor something this year is going to take maybe 20% to maybe double
Yeah.
next year. And
Yeah.
so all of these things, going back to being fiscally responsible, um,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the alignment between sales and marketing, this is my first time in my career where I am reporting up to a chief revenue officer rather
Mm-hmm.
than a
Mm-hmm.
chief marketing officer or VP or head of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's very important that marketing works in conjunction with sales, but also
Yeah.
sales is open to giving feedback at the bottom funnel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
other key differentiator for me at this point in my career is that I've managed and hired a number of different non-marketing roles now, from analysts to reps to true marketing titles, and having business development reps report into marketing has been a game changer
Mm-hmm.
because they are the
Yeah.
first touch point when they prospect.
Mm-hmm.
All of our BDRs here are superstars. We have hired actually our fourth BDR now in my second year here, and we've really gotten that down to science. We listen to prospects, we summarize everything, and we pass that along to sales. And from a brand building perspective, we then look at the use cases. We're not making guesses. We're not like hypothesizing about what people really want. These are what prospects are coming in asking us about. And
Mm-hmm.
so that goes back to me saying the reverse engineering. I look at what people are coming in, seeking us out for, what we're known for, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I reverse engineer that and retool that into our website, into our collateral, into events, messaging, talking points, all of that.
Yeah.
My theme for my theme for my team has been do less so that we can do more. It's my cheeky
Mm-hmm.
little reframe on the do more with less. I think
Mm-hmm.
doing less to do more really makes you
Yeah.
prioritize what's most important and critical.
This episode of Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, is brought to you by RBMA, Revenue Based Marketing Advisors. Want to elevate your business and boost revenue? RBMA is here to help. Our expertise in business development and sales, combined with full funnel marketing, propels your growth. We offer fractional CMO, CRO, and CGO services, plus project-based initiatives, ensuring success at every stage. Our unique approach integrates marketing and sales, transforming them into a powerful growth engine. We specialize in B2B agencies, service providers, SaaS companies, and product firms to drive exceptional results. Visit our website to learn more and start your journey to unparalleled success. And now back to our program. So Kim, I love what you're saying and kind of how you've really worked to integrate the sales insights and the consumer insights into your marketing strategy. So it seems like that's really working to make sure that your content is extremely relevant and ties to what your audience is looking for.
Yeah. And as I mentioned during our conversations, the BDR conversations with prospects, they come in, they have their use cases. We, as part of a brand refresh and top funnel activities 2 years ago when I first joined, our website was very clunky and not ranking. And I like to use the analogy of renovating or buying an older home. My first home was a 1940s home. So, there are a lot of different head scratching moments when you started to renovate, whether it's just a fresh new coat of paint, or you had to break down some walls and discover some surprises, right? And so having to, again, rebuild all of that, not just from an external perspective of rebranding and refreshing a brand, but also thinking through workflow wise behind the scenes. We streamlined just about 30 plus use cases to only 7. We just added another one in the past 6 months because we were getting that organic inbound interest again.
That's so great. And again, back to like connecting, you just have more and more examples of the benefits of integrating your sales and marketing. And that's really where I see a lot of growth potential, especially for B2B and SaaS. So it's, again, you were mentioning you report, so all of marketing reports up to the CRO, which, we're starting to see more and more, or that the CMO is overseeing sales. And again, it just reiterates the importance of that at the leadership and the top. And that having the BDR be part of marketing, I've heard someone mention that before. And again, going back to just to echo what you were saying, like you have to, like, in some ways it depends on so much how you're training your BDR and what their experience and their level of within the organization. Because I think what I'm seeing is so many brands are panicking about sales. They're like, let's add more BDRs, let's add more cold calling and cold emailing, but to pay for this, we're going to reduce our marketing budget, and that's definitely what we don't want to see. But in your example, where marketing is coaching the BDR and you're giving the BDR the ensuring that they're proceeding with your brand message, with the right narrative and the specific examples, it's not as cringy that your BDR might be the first impression or touch point of the brand. So, I just think that's you're kind of ahead of your time, Kim. It's really great to hear.
Yeah, I appreciate the compliments there. I think there's a lot of, I want to say, like, imposter syndrome. When I mentioned that I pretty much been in every other industry except for my current industry, which is very niche. But I kind of compare it. People made fun of me a lot when I first started because I used a lot of dating analogies. So at the top funnel, I was like, why are we not converting? Why are we stuck in this cycle of just first dates or second dates, when we want to get married? So hashtag put a ring on it and understand what is progressing things down the line. Our sales cycles were anywhere from a year to 2 years.
A long time.
We also have a lot of public sector, government, agency clients. And so these budgets and technology buying a sales cycle is just becoming more and more convoluted with more people on board. And those first few conversations were less about sales and more about building rapport,
Yep.
understanding needs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's a marketing function
Yeah.
and
The
responsibility,
relationship
rather
building. Yeah.
relationship building rather than, bottom funnel right away.
Yeah. No, it's that's spot on, and where I think more brands need to be investing in. And it just goes to the point of making sure there's that open communication and integration, and the fact that you're all one team. I think definitely it sounds like makes it a lot more helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to give credit to, I think for marketers, I have been in situations, and my peers also are in situations where a lot of the challenge is, oh, well, my leadership or the sales team doesn't understand marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, there will
Mm-hmm.
always be a little bit of that challenge, a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
but having a leadership that both professionally have gone through the ranks and gone up the ranks through sales and marketing
Mm-hmm.
is probably half the battle.
Yeah.
But also from a personality and leadership perspective, making sure that, whatever team you join, whether it's an existing team, internally, or a brand new company and role in industry, is really finding out personality wise, are
Right.
they open to hearing you out? Are
Mm-hmm.
they supportive of you? Are they willing to back you up if something doesn't work out, right? Marketers inherently, we push the envelope. We have to test, we have to experiment, we have to stay ahead of all these things. And sometimes things fail. But
Yeah.
rethinking what failure is as lessons learned and what insights can we take to improve and optimize, again, really builds that relationship and positions you as a strategic leader
Right.
rather than just, a party planner or
Right. Or
presentation
a
deck
right, I was just
builder,
gonna
right?
say the
We're more than
PowerPoint editor.
that.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And yeah, and I love what you're saying. And I think one of the examples you'd given too, I think was that if salespeople are asking for like a one sheeter, it's like, no, like let's get into what are you trying to solve? Like what are you trying to answer, and making sure that, to your point, that they're seeing you as a strategic asset, and
Yep.
partner. Um,
Yep, yep.
yeah.
And no pun intended, but we actually just went through and audited all of our assets and collateral just so we, again, true ourselves back to numbers
Yeah.
and making sure that, you know, do we really need to create a new collateral or is it more of an update?
Yeah.
B2B, a lot of things change, but a lot of things also don't, depending on who your audience is. And
Hmm.
so I mentioned that we have a lot of public sector customers,
Yeah.
and their needs may or may not have changed in the last 2 years at the
Hmm.
core. And so some of these collateral, rather than a brand new data sheet or a brand new presentation deck, we could probably
Yeah.
get away with, updating a slide or two.
Yeah. A lot of efficiency and effectiveness. So,
Yeah,
um, great. And
that
I,
engineering
yeah,
hat.
yeah, right. And I know, like you're saying, the you know, to get buy-in, you're really tying in the the investment to you're mapping out real numbers to the initiatives and the proposed strategies. And I think that in itself, to your point, is such a great approach. And it's hard, right? It's like it's marketers having to market your marketing department and your value
Yep.
to your leadership. um, but it's definitely a challenge. And I know, we were talking about that. That's often an even greater challenge in a private equity owned company where so much focus is on cost cutting and saving. So share a bit about how you'd recommend for some of the smaller or private equity owned companies that need to be able to promote their own value.
Yeah, yeah. I love this question because again, it's the first time in my career that I am working for a company in my current level reporting so intimately to a board.
Hmm.
Previously, I was in public companies, big Fortune 500, and we also had that responsibility. But
Hmm.
knowing what the board is interested in and most focused on,
Hmm.
has been a game changer. But again, going back to that point of your first line of defense and offense is
Yeah.
your leadership,
Hmm.
and making sure to pre pre-talk and communicate talking points. Is this the right, focus that the
Yeah.
board is interested in? Am I giving too many details? Am I not giving enough?
Yeah.
Is this like reading the room, right? And making sure that you get all of your internal influencers and sponsors on board
Hmm.
has been something that I'm getting better at. The last 2 years, I was in the weeds, especially at a smaller company. Um, but in the past 6 months to a year, as I rebuilt the team, I am now, surfacing up, as you say, marketing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been really important because, again, going back to the idea of you have to build that trust.
Hmm.
And PE firms, investors, board, they want to know that you are being fiscally responsible with the budget you have,
Yeah.
before you even ask for more. And so for me, cleaning up pipeline, reallocating dollars, and that could change from month to month or even quarter to quarter, depending on, AI, right? Like Google is
Yeah.
deprecating their cookies.
Yeah.
It's been something that people have been talking about forever.
Right.
And now it's
It might
actually
eventually
happening.
happen fully. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And just, I mean, very recently, someone actually found us through a conversation they had with AI.
Wow.
And so
That's so
rethinking
cool.
all of these strategies and tactics,
Hmm.
paid ads may not be worth it to
Yep.
invest in at the level that we currently are,
Yeah.
right? And so staying nimble, and being transparent with your
Mhm.
leadership and board, I think two-way street, building that authority and trust first and foremost is really
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. No, thank you, Kim. This has been excellent. Thank you so much for
Oh my gosh, thank
joining
you.
us and really sharing your wisdom. I am definitely taking a lot of actionable recommendations from your experience and what you've shared. So thank you so much, and I hope you can join us again.
Thank you, Kerry.
I'm Kerry Curran, and this is Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for our next episode and be sure to subscribe to Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast for more ways to skyrocket your company's growth.